Hello, everyone. Welcome to Michelle's City Talk. I think this is like my fourth video. Just a reminder, Michelle only reports on the Kansas City, Missouri metro area. We do not do world news. We leave that up to CNN and all the other networks. So let's jump right into it. Today I'm going to talk about theaters. There's a theater in the Kansas City area called Just Off Broadway. It's located near Penn Valley Community College. In fact, it's on the northeast corner. If you're on the corner of 31st and Broadway, the northeast corner is where Just Off Broadway Theater is located. Now, you actually have to look down over the overpass because it's down in like a little valley. They've got an awesome play coming out called Rise Above. It's in reference to drugs, gangs, and peer pressure. In fact, after the young man lost his best friend, he had to make a decision. Does he seek revenge or forgiveness? This is a play we definitely need our young people to go and see, and maybe some of our adults also. The next play they have is Seven Guitars. It tells the story of Floyd Barton. He's a blues guitarist in the 1940s as he navigates the challenges of ambition, personal struggles, and racial barriers. This one should be really good. I plan on seeing that. That is September 12th, Thursday. So that's coming up really quick. I mean, they're going to have a lot more. Oh, and by the way, if I didn't say it, Rise Above is going to be September 27th, Friday. Now, it is showing just one day for now. September 27th, Friday, Rise Above, the one related to drugs, gangs, and peer pressure. And then again, your Seven Guitars, the story of Floyd Barton, a blues guitarist in the 1940s. That one, it'll be several shows. The first one is Thursday, September 12th. And I think it's like 10 a.m. and it's just the previews. Amazon. Are you an Amazon Prime member? If you are, get ready for October. October is going to be Prime Big Deal Days. Now, I participated before and they really did slash some prices. So if you're planning on shopping for a birthday or Christmas or something like that, you might want to get ready for October. Now, if you're not a Prime member, you can join. I think it's like $15 a month and $139 for the year. And that's again, for Amazon Prime members, they will have big deals going on in October. And yes, I plan on buying because I shop. I use Amazon a lot. I'm going to be honest. I really love Amazon. DoorDash, Uber Eats posers. What is that? It's a person posing to be a DoorDash employee or an Uber employee, and they're going into this Kansas City metro restaurants stealing the food. So let's use Chipotle's as an example. Chipotle's has a rack that they set their food on, and then of course the name is on the outside of the bag. What's happening is these people are coming in acting like they're DoorDash or Uber Eats and taking the food. Okay, criminals are just creative. I'm just going to call it like it is, and that's all I got to say on that one. Okay, my last podcast, I talked to you all about all the issues going on by Sunfresh Grocery Store located on 31st and Prospect. In fact, it's between 31st Street and Linwood. 31st Street and Linwood run east and west. Nope. No, that's right. And then Prospect runs north and south. So if you're on 31st and Prospect, there's a big little shopping center, and Sunfresh is there. Sitting in that shopping center area is Popeyes. And I shared with you on my last podcast that the bus stop right there on the corner where Popeyes is, some of the things they were doing on the bus stop wasn't the greatest. Well, apparently somebody's really getting tired of it because it hit the regular news. In fact, the news said that they're, trying to figure out what they're going to do about that area in that store because it's getting really bad. I heard that they're looking to close it. Now, I can't see them closing it because they just reopened that after it had been closed for years. Maybe they reopened, 6 or 7 years ago? So I hate the thought because it's not raggedy or anything like that. It's just the crime is so bad. The city will have to figure out something. And the poor library that sits across the street, I don't even know what to say. Now, I do know that Kansas City received a grant. Kansas City is getting a $10 million federal funding to improve part of Prospect. It'll go towards sidewalks, bus stops, creating pedestrian refuge islands, extending the curbs, and adding lighting. Now, in that, I didn't hear them say cameras. Now, it's probably in there. They just can't list everything. Please let cameras be in there because cameras are definitely needed. However, only the 2-mile stretch of Prospect between Linwood and Emmanuel Cleaver Boulevard will benefit from these improvements. Now, I imagine later down the line, they'll probably, add more areas once they get more funding or something. Park Hill student says he was suspended after defending himself in a racist incident. Now, I haven't got more information on that because I have a lot of questions. Incident, racist incident. Was it words? Was it physical? Was it harassment? Not sure which one it is. So I've been watching that story, trying to wait and see, what the actual issue was. Now, I will say this. Park Hill High School did say they have a zero tolerance for, racist issues. So that was good to hear. Kansas City Police Department. The Kansas City Police Department is constantly recruiting. They are down in numbers. That's why they're trying to be as creative as possible when there's an issue that's not considered an emergency, because they've got a lot of emergency issues. And people are upset because they say they called 911 and they're put on hold. Now that sounds like one of those rap songs, which is really funny to be honest, but sad in one way. But needless to say, you need to know that if it's not an emergency, don't call 911. There's another number to call. Call that number, okay? Because when you call 911 because someone bumped into the back of your bumper, okay, now you're filling up the 911 calls, and that's not really an emergency. An emergency is when someone calls and says, a young man was just shot. A young man is shooting into a crowd. Things of that nature is considered an emergency. An older person may have had a stroke. Life-threatening things. That's what it is. We got to stop using 911 because our neighbor's dog done got on our nerve and you're going to go off on them. Not an emergency, okay? Just wanted to share that because their numbers are down. Victims and suspects. Did you realize that the black males in the Kansas City area make up 59% of the victims and suspects in attacks? 59%. That's a lot. Everyone else is just about in single digits when it comes to percentage. And when I say everyone else, I mean like white males or black females or white females or Hispanics or, whatever nationality, Jewish, you name it. We're 59%. That's a lot. People, something needs to be done. And most of these attacks, unfortunately, are being done with handguns. In fact, they had 75 so far. Now, the number may be higher because this report might be like 2 weeks old. So, unfortunately, it may be higher. Now, this is what's interesting. I thought, now I know this has got to be drug related. Can you believe it? Most of it, more than about 30 of them were just arguments. Had nothing to do with drugs. Now, there was a few, like 5 was marijuana related. 1 was methamphetamine, and then there was about 43 that was unknown. But the largest number that was known was based on just arguments. We've got to learn to control our temper. I get it. We get frustrated. We get frustrated at work, at home, you name it. But is it worth spending time behind bars? I just don't think it is. And I'll be the first to tell you, I'm human. Everybody gets a little upset. Metro Property Crimes detectives have arrested 2 suspects, and unfortunately, they're juveniles. When there was a dozen of crimes being done in the Brookside and Waldo area, they found that there were juveniles doing that. Now, I don't know who their parents, relatives are, but their road is right at that point, if nobody got hurt. Right now, they're at that point where if I go left, then I'm going to end up going down the wrong path and doing time. If I go right and do right, then I can probably turn this around. I really hope they go right. Okay, time to do a little bit of real talk. Okay, this section here, I'm calling it real talk because I think about the conversations that I have, whether it's in a beauty salon or whether it's sitting down with relatives. And the conversations that I have is usually about things that are going on in the Kansas City metro area. And then you get a lot of people that say, oh, they should make those kids go to the military as soon as they graduate. Or they need to give them a minimum 5 years. Well, okay, let me tell you now. Everything you think of to that extreme requires our politicians. They have to present that and have to get it passed, and it goes through a lengthy process. If you want to make change in your community immediately, you can't choose things that is going to take, as most people say, an act of Congress. To make it mandatory for every high school student to have to go off to the military, like some countries do, that is going to take a long time and a whole lot of votes, and not just here in Kansas City. So let's bring it down a bit, and let's think a little bit about what we can do now. I have a suggestion that I kind of talked with a bunch of people about, and one in particular agreed. Use our Army, Navy, National Guard reserves. Those people are reservists. What that means is they go 1 week in a month, 2 weeks out of the year to their reserve station. A lot of times there's not a whole lot to do, and they're looking to do things and looking to help the community. Well, the National Guard, that's kind of their thing, They help when there's major floods, hurricanes, you name it. Well, they're going 1 week in a month, 2 weeks out of the year. Why not contact those reserve units and say, are you willing, or do you have people that would be willing to help patrol certain areas that are high crime? All they can do is say yes or no. Now, has it ever been done before? Yes and no. Yes, they've come out into the community and helped, because when I was a reservist years ago, when Precious Doe came up missing, they contacted our unit and they wanted people to help walk these grassy areas looking for any signs of the little girl. Our unit said yes, and a bunch of us went down. They had a particular area they assigned the unit to, and we walked the area trying to look for any type of clues or anything like that. So what I'm saying is, team these reservists up with one of our local officers. Hey, you can have 4 reservists to 1 local officer, and then that local officer can choose an area. They can divide the areas or whatever, and maybe he's responsible for, I'm just going to use this as an example, 27th and Prospect to Linwood and Prospect. Prospect, let's just say, let's go maybe 2 blocks east of Prospect and 2 blocks west. And that's their area to patrol. If that area is having major problems, then that's the area you want to patrol. Every time you try to do something to fix a problem, you get that group that says, well, they're not doing it out in the suburbs. They're not doing it here and there. Well, let's call it like it is. The issues are not happening like that out there. Why would we put them there if it's not happening there? We're going to have to accept the fact the areas that have high crime that people constantly are calling the police or complaining are the areas that we do need to put these people there. That's my suggestion. The next thing, as I mentioned in one of these group settings, was community meetings. When our councilmen decide to have a community meeting, go. Grab 3 or 4 other people. I know some of us are older and it's like, oh, I've done my time. This is, but really, it affects you. It affects everyone. It's changing our whole society. I mean, the NFL parade, I was there. Wonderful parade. So happy to be there. Now, me and my husband, we left. Right after the parade ended, we debated, should we go down to Union Station, whether everybody's going, or home? Well, we were going to go to Union Station, but after we got our car, when we were further downtown by the T-Mobile Center, the traffic was so thick that we gave up and said, nah, let's just go home. As soon as we got home is when we heard about the shooting. We were lucky. We were blessed not to be in that area. The point of my story is, why would you put people in an area where there's no issues when you have areas, when you're having big events, that there are issues? Sometimes people seeing military people, or let's just say police officers, that stops them. And if you give the reserves something to do, they'll appreciate it. Bring them out into the community. They get a chance to practice patrolling, because don't think that when you're in the military and you go overseas, you don't have to patrol the area. You do. I did it. You're responsible, you and another person, to walk the perimeter during your shift, and then someone comes and relieves you. So it's the same concept. It's giving them some practice. Community meetings. Back to community meetings. If you're not on the Kansas City City Council's email list, you should get on there. That way you'll know when they're having meetings. In fact, they had one on September 5th at headquarters. Didn't agree on the location, but they had it at headquarters, and it was in reference to no more gas stations. Now, I couldn't figure out where he was going with that. I didn't make the meeting. I didn't know if he meant it's not enough gas stations or we don't want any more because they have liquor stores in them. Wasn't quite sure. Can't say too much because I didn't have time to make the meeting. My point is, go to those community meetings. Grab somebody. Don't go alone. It's strength in numbers. They tend to pay more attention to you. This is Michelle with Michelle's City Talk. I hope you watch me on YouTube. No, I'm not trying to entertain you. I'm not trying to get you to buy anything. I'm trying to get you to invest in your community, listen to the things that are going on, and be involved in your community. Thank you for listening to Michelle's City Talk, and have a great day.